Hello, welcome to Get Your Mind On. I'm Lori Stohs. Podcast, webcams, TED Talks, video, audio, education, teaching, learning, books. Oh my gosh, we are just overwhelmed with information. We're in an information society. We have so much coming to us. How can we ever just grasp the little that we need? Well, when we think about all the knowledge that we have, let's take a topic that you might be interested. You may be very good at knowing something, but then you have a gap between knowing and doing. Now, some of us may just like to know just for the sake of knowing and not doing anything with it. But then there's some of us who may be thinking about, I want to do something with this. I want to make my life better. I want to eat better and be healthier. I want to change a behavior that I know affects people. So when we think about knowing, we have to think about what do we know versus what we do and how do we bridge that gap. Now, there's some of us who are doers and just do and maybe don't seek the information until we need it, right? So there's those as well. But today we're going to really focus on the difference of how do we bridge the gap between knowing something and doing something. Now, we all go about that differently. So first, of course, we have to define what we're looking to do, what we're wanting to get better at, and then we have to think about how do we go about it. So all of us really go about it in a different way, and that's okay. But the first thing is knowing how you do it. So let's just say you are thinking about wanting to eat better because you have high cholesterol or diabetes, or you're on lots of meds and you want to get off of that. You have to say, what do I need to know? So you might read a lot and learn a lot, or you may just dive in. So look at it as this. You go into a pool. Some people dive in and just jump in and get started and go all or nothing, right? And some of us go wading in the pool, and we like to get a little bit of information at a time, maybe change one behavior. Maybe say, gosh, I'm going to just drink more water or eat more vegetables or not drink soda. One thing at a time to add. Now, neither are right or wrong, but they're both different ways. So the first thing you need to do is, what do you want to change, right? Think of that behavior. Second, identify your way of doing it. Now you may say, I don't know. Well, part of it is going back to think about what's worked for you and what hasn't in the past. And if you haven't, guess what? Start it and try again. We really need to think about what's sustainable. So some of us that maybe take the all or nothing approach, we may go all or nothing into it, and then all of a sudden we don't sustain it and we end up starting over again. So part of this is just being aware of what that is for us. So whether you're a jumping in and diving in, and getting it and making that change, or you're wading in, part of it is knowing that what's best for you. So the other thing is thinking about what is your motivation around it. You know, again, I look at books. There's tons of things that you can read. I read books about motivation and the power of habits. And some of what we get caught up in is a talent, right? We just don't have that why or the desire to do it. We're maybe not motivated to get the outcome because we wonder what is in our way. And it might be that our why isn't big enough. We really don't want to change it. That might be part of it. The other part of it is we may just need to develop a skill. We may need to develop a skill to put into place to just say, I need to make sure I go about doing this differently so it changes, and hold ourselves accountable. Some of us may need to find partners to help hold us accountable. So another little example of that is you're always late. You're late leaving, the house. So you may read this book about habits. You may learn about procrastination, all of those kinds of things. But what does it take for you to do it? Well, you may need to be the one to have a timer on your phone during certain things. So when you're heading out of the house, when you have to leave the house to drop off the kids to get to work or whatever it may be, you may have to develop that skill. So when we think about those knowing versus doing, again, there's three different things. First, what are you trying to change? Second is what is your style in terms of going about that? And third is understanding your motivation in terms of how to do it. A story of this that might help you understand it even a little bit better was one of my gals I was coaching. She had a tendency to have that behavior that she would shut people down very quickly. Now, this is a behavioral type of thing that takes a little longer, but she read all about it, right? Knew that she had a problem, read up on it, but then that doing gap was big for her because she'd always say the things she shouldn't say, and then she'd have to backtrack again. So we really went through how could she know and understand what are the things she needs to do before that happens, or how does she feel her body changing and those kinds of things to get that in place. How does she have an accountability partner in the room who gives her an eye contact or something that she knows? So those are, it could be as simple as time, managing her time, eating well, or it could be as much as some of those behavior changes that we need to make that that are always in our way. For positive charge this week, first, are you more of a learner or are you more of a doer? Second is, how do you bridge that gap when you think about making change to doing? Are you the one that jumps right in, or are you the one that takes it step by step? And third, what is your motivation for making the change? So as we think about knowing things, some of us just love to know, some of us love to do, and some of us have that gap where we want to make change, but we just don't know what to do. So hopefully these tips today will help you think about how do you bridge that gap from knowing to doing. Thanks for joining us today, and remember to get your mind on.